we ready to go, Tanya?
Yes, we are ready to go.
Fantastic. Great. We are live on Clubhouse, and here we are now recording on this wonderful program called Zoom. And what we will be doing is broadcasting this event on YouTube, and so that people can become more aware of the rhino issue in South Africa and in Africa. So, Tanya, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and then tell us all about what you're doing, because I think what you're doing here is absolutely amazing, and you've got our full support here from I Need an Expert. Over to you, Tanya.
Thank you, David. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about something that is so close to my heart, but also something that should include all of us, because these are not just my rhinos, these are our rhinos. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak on so much for that. Okay, Dancing for Rhinos. Dancing for Rhinos. And we focus on awareness and education. We focus on protection, orphan and survivor care, and on research. So how did it start? Dancing for Rhinos started 10 years ago on the 2nd of March 2012. I received a phone call on that morning. It was my older sister, and she said to me, Tanya, do you know what happened last night in the Eastern Cape at the Kariga Game Reserve? I didn't have any clue. I was oblivious to the fact what was happening around us. She was quite stated, and she told me that 3 rhinos got poached. 1 died immediately, bull number 84, and 2 rhinos were left fighting for their lives. Their names were Thandi and Themba. Themba passed, unfortunately, away 23 days later. And this is a photo of Thandi and Themba before everything happened. And 23 days later, this boy died. And this is the wildlife veterinarian, Dr. William Fowles. And when I saw this man sitting next to Themba, it really, really tore my heart apart to see how it shattered him. And you can see the videos on our Facebook and on our website on Dancing for Rhinos, www.dancingforrhinos.com. And I've got all the videos, footage of the day, of that specific day on there. I've also got the video footage of Thandi and her poaching when she was found on that day, on the 2nd of March. Seeing him there was really, really, really tough for me. And it was a very hard time afterwards. It was basically just Gerard and myself, and nobody yet that we could share this with. It was quite a trauma. And I kept writing to this veterinarian. And I asked him, how does somebody like me can help? How do we help? We are in town. We cannot help hands on in the bush. We're not trained for it. And that day he said to me 2 things. The first one was, what do you do on a daily level? What do you do? What is your job? How can you influence? Think how you can influence people like that. And then the other thing that he said to me, and that was the catalyst for me to change my life. And it really has. And that was, Tanya, it's good to have a soft heart, but you need to get strong hands. And I think, David, that was really what pushed me. And so, yes, this is the girl that got poached. And I've got other images which I don't want to show you, but please go and watch them on YouTube and watch them on our website. They are really important to see, for you to see where this girl has come from and where she is today. That was Thandi in November 2012. Sadly, without her horns, but so much so a survivor, so much so a lady of courage. And she became my lady of courage. And if you can see here, there are quite a number of pictures of Thandi actually standing up, looking at life and turning around at this door and really moving backwards and saying, no, I'm going to fight this. And it was virtually the decision of Dr. William Fowles on the 2nd of March to say, I am going to give her a chance and let her see and make her a survivor. And then also the Kariga Game Reserve, because there were a few poachings before this, but nobody dared to stand up and show the world what was happening. And here this reserve said, no, we want to speak out. We need to speak out about what's happening with our rhinos. And Paul Mills was the videographer. He took a lot of images, a lot of footage of Thandi, and it was also translated into Vietnamese and played in Vietnam. So it had definitely had a huge impact there. Looking back at 2020, just before we went down with COVID, actually there was a little video clip released by Peter Knight from Wild Aid, and he said that the poaching has gone down in Vietnam. Not as much as we obviously hope for, but definitely it has gone down. So it shows us there is a very important thing that's happening if we do the proper awareness, and we cannot give up on it. And the sad thing is, David, awareness is something you cannot monetize, you cannot feel it. It's a long-term impact, but it is so vital that we create ambassadors, that we create and that awareness in children, in people, to see what is happening. People often don't correlate, and that they cannot understand that the horn or the medicine in the horn is related to a dead animal. And we are the ones who've got the duty to bring it to them. My duty in Dancing for Rhinos, and that's the first aspect, the awareness and the education, is to bring the story of rhinos to children, bring it to people through song and dance. So after Will's words to us, Gerard and me realized Gerard loves cooking. He's very passionate about cooking. He loves fine cuisine, and I love dancing. I love organizing events. It's my passion. And we said, okay, we always wanted to do a charity event. Why not use it for this? And I can promise you, I was so scared before our first event in 2013, but we said we have to do this. So 2013, you can see it on the screen. That was the first event we ever did. And you see also, I don't know if my mouse can point to it, Dr. William Fowles here. You can see Alison Thompson from OSCAP, who headed up OSCAP, outrage people against poaching. And that is how we started with the children in the school to bring out the awareness.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. I'm just looking at the photographs. So for those of you in Clubhouse, some of the photographs that Tanya is sharing is absolutely amazing. And you can actually see, I mean, this is 2013, and you know, the costumes are just absolutely fantastic. And they dressed up to look like rhinos, which is absolutely great. Plus there's looks like a giraffe and a zebra. Wow. So thank you, Tanya. I love these photographs. So what we'll do at the end of the show, for those on Clubhouse, we'll share the link to the Zoom link, so you can actually go and watch this on YouTube. Thank you, Tanya. Please continue with this amazing story of yours.
Thank you, David. Yes, and then you see the other side of the event, and that is Gerard's forte. So my husband Gerard is a chef. He trained in Switzerland, and for him this gives him the opportunity to really show his passion, and he just absolutely loves it. And he for anybody who's coming to the event, you know, this is what you get presented with, and so that your taste buds are definitely not disappointed. It's the exact opposite. It's really awesome. And I think for me, the important part also about Dancing for Rhinos is there are so many people involved in pulling an event like this together. I mean, we've got the online auction, we've got the silent auction in the hall, we've got raffle tickets, we have got all the catering, our waitering staff, the cleaning staff. Everybody is a very, very vital part of this event. We cannot do it alone. And people always say thank you to me. They say thank you to Gerard, but there is an entire crew behind this, the photographers, everybody, the table decoration, the decoration in the hall. And that is what makes it so amazing. Every person in the Dancing for Rhinos team has got their spot that they help us with, the marketing, the advertising. I mean, it's huge. And that is what I also believe in Dancing for Rhinos. It's not only for our rhinos, but it gives people who are involved an opportunity to bring their talent to the forefront and live their talent, live their passion. And so many times I've realized afterwards, our sound engineer, he came to me in 2015 when we visited Tandi, and he said, Tanya, this has changed my life. And this man sits with us every single Sunday, and he spends hours and hours and hours recording the music and the lights and that is truly amazing. And I mean, it doesn't come out in a presentation, but it does come out on the night when you see all of that. And I mean, the change, this was 2013, and now we are in 2022.
So I just want to give a quick overview for those on Clubhouse. The photographs of the cuisine that's been offered is absolutely, looks delicious. And you can see there's a whole team of people there that are actually putting this together. And Tanya, the amount of people that are actually coming to the event that's happening on the 14th of May, how many people do you have coming through to that?
We are on 170 people.
170
so
people. Wow.
It's actually bursting at the seams, to be honest. A lot of people are sending me personal messages and can you still squeeze me in? And so yeah, so it's definitely, I'm truly grateful for that. I can't say it any differently. And I think also we are hungry to get out again. People need connection. And I think it's such a pleasure for me to be able to do it. And again, David, yeah, it's also for all of us a very important moment, because it connects people. It connects all of us seeing something very, very special. Yeah, so I don't want to give everything away, but yeah, I'm so excited.
It looks like it's going to be a really amazing event. So we're talking to Tanya West from Dancing for Rhinos, and they're basically doing a fundraiser on the 14th of May. And the reason for that is that they support the rhino situation here in South Africa. So I think Tanya's now going to tell us a little bit about that, and that's what's going to happen. So Tanya, if you could explain to us, you know, regarding what is the situation with the rhino in South Africa, and where are we going with that?
Okay, 10 years down the line, sure, David, it's a tough one. We've lost many rhinos throughout the years. Our national park, I mean, Kruger National Park is our flagship on national parks, and they are doing so much work in the Kruger, and but it's difficult. It's sometimes up to 7 poaching syndicates and in the park in one night. And that is truly what is happening. We had like 20,000 rhinos in the Kruger, and we are way down on that number. If the birth rate of rhino, but rhino in the rhino population, the birth rate has tipped already over. We can no longer rely on new babies being born, that they will enhance the population in the long term again. We are way past that. And I think through COVID, it definitely went down for obvious reasons. There was no traffic in the Kruger National Park. There was obviously a much better control on it. But it is really difficult for these guys. You know, I mean, rangers have become soldiers. if we just sit back for a moment and just understand that concept, what is happening, that reality, for somebody who's actually looking after wildlife, all of a sudden he has become a soldier. They've got families. It's so hard for them. It's the same for our veterinarians. The veterinarians went and studied to help animals. Now they were faced with this tragedy of rhinos being there with their whole nasal cavities being open. I can promise you, David, I had veterinarians on our stage crying because it's an outlet for them to let go of their emotions, because they have to be so strong. They are confronted with this on a daily or weekly basis, and it's so hard when you look at that. I can tell you, if we cannot turn this around now, within the next 5, for lucky 10 years, our animals are extinct. And that's the really harsh reality. Kruger is working so hard to protect. And David, there's something I would really like to mention here as well. Sometimes there are so many social media posts about a ranger that has been involved or giving out information. And sadly, sometimes the negative exceeds the positive. There are so many rangers out there that fight so much at night, fight day and night to keep these animals safe. And we don't see these posts. We very much get soaked up into bad media, and that shouldn't be the case. And once again, I want to thank you, and I want to say thank you to I Need an Expert for giving me this opportunity, because this is very seldom that this information actually goes out there. We need to acknowledge and be thankful to the rangers who are really out there fighting for the lives of rhino. I just want to give you another quick example. If there's a poacher that attacks a rhino and a ranger is there, a ranger is not allowed to protect the rhino. That means physically lifting a weapon to the poacher, except if the weapon is aimed at him, his personal life. How do you protect a rhino? So it's very difficult. That's why we need AI technology. That is why we need the drones. We need thermal imaging. These are all the things that help. The reality is really this, David, if we cannot change it now, within the next 10 years, our rhinos will be extinct. And there's another aspect to it. We've got a lot of private rhino owners. They do not get any funding. It's very difficult to fund private reserves, especially if they are not a non-profit company, not profit organization. So that is something that we as Dancing for Rhinos feel very strong about. We've got a drone project. We've got a drone engineer. He's actually an aeronautics engineer. He flies himself. He's a qualified drone pilot, and he spearheads our drone project to help that we can buy drones and that we actually can get drones into reserves, that they can fly them at night and have their rhinos protected with it. There is not a silver bullet in all of this, and excuse the pun for it, but it's so difficult, David. You need to have so many things, tools in your toolbox in order to help with this. And one of it are the drones. That's why we say we focus on the protection, the awareness, the orphan. Unfortunately, it's proactive and reactive, the orphan care, the survivor care, and then the research. So we also support in vitro fertilization, which is something 5 years ago nobody would have ever looked at. I mean, it was so difficult to even look at this. And Dr. Mornay de la Rey from Rhino Repro is very much involved in that. And he needs our support, because he's trying to tip that birth rate that is currently not helping at all into a different direction. But it needs research. It needs a lot of collection of the oocytes, etc. Something that we normally would want to stay away from. We can no longer do it, because we definitely need him, and we need that team to help. It was, I don't know if you heard about Sudan, the last northern white rhino in Opejeta in Kenya. So Sudan passed away in 2018. And he had to be euthanized. He was very old, and he was the last male northern white rhino. There are no more, but a whole team of experts actually have collected DNA, semen from him, etc., to be able to work with it, to see if they can actually reverse that. So there is a lot of things being done, and Dr. Monet de la Rey is working very strongly on that in South Africa. He did have a presentation 2 years ago at Dancing for Rhinos. He got a standing ovation for that presentation. But yes, like you see, there is so much I can tell you, and 10 years is a lot to talk about, but we really tried, and with Dancing for Rhinos, to look at it at every different aspect. And all I can say is, please help us on doing the making that difference, being the change for our rhinos, and we need it on all different levels.
So, Tanya, this event that you are hosting, obviously, I'm sure most of the tickets are now sold, and I'm hoping that I can get one or two definitely, maybe 4. But the thing here I want to ask you is that obviously there are people out there that won't be in time to book, and obviously you are limited for space. So what could they do to support you? And I understand there's something called, you're going to have a Zoom in. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that will help to support you in your efforts of what you're doing in your fundraising for the rhinos?
Absolutely, I can talk about that. Thank you, David. That is our online show. So basically what we will be doing for everybody who cannot get to the show, please go on Quicket. I can send David all the links. It is Quicket, and you can buy an online ticket there. They are 100 Rand. You will see exactly the same show as the people who are in the hall. The only difference is obviously the dinner. So during the dinner time, we will switch over. We will have videos, a 10-year down memory lane that you can watch videos. We've also got videos of people, other organizations that have been inspired by Tandi's story. So we will have them online as well. We will have online our director in Hong Kong, that is Ryan Hammond. And Ryan Hammond is doing a very important thing in Hong Kong with us, also with small children, 3-4-year-old children. They are working for a company called Ballroom Bees, and he is doing a lot of awareness for us, for Dancing for Rhinos, for our rhinos, for wildlife in general in Hong Kong. So he will be speaking on the online part, and then we've got Teresa Goff, our international marketing manager, and she is looking at the online auction. So she will tell you about the online auction. We've got that as well. It is in South African Rand, so you can bid on it, and that is already open, and it will close only a week after Dancing for Rhinos. So please go and bid on there. We've got experiences, we've got jewelry, we've got really amazing things on there, and with that you will help us to raise these very, very needed funds. And the show itself, really, we've got an awesome team of cameramen there, and they will record live the show for you. So you buy your ticket from Quicket, and then you can log in just before the show at 17:30. The official show starts at 1800, and then you will see exactly what is happening on the show. You can celebrate this show with us, 10 years of Dancing for Rhinos, and specifically 10 years of Tandi's survival. So Tandi is the rhino who changed my life. She's very, very personal to me. And she is now already a grandmother, believe it or not. Her first calf already had her calf. So this is such an exciting and amazing thing. And we've got really, really awesome guest speakers there. Dr. William Fowles, who is the person who made that decision on that vital day to give Tandi life. and he's also one of our honorary patrons. There is a video also out on social media where we sat now in April and we visited Thandi. So he will be speaking. He's such an inspiring person, and yeah, I definitely, you please watch that. Then we have got Lindy Sutherland. She is the director of the Kariga Foundation. Incredible lady, and please have a look, and you will see also the correlation between the two on creating more habitat. I don't want to say too much now because they will be speaking about it, but the Eastern Cape is absolutely amazing in what they're doing for the future, creating habitat for wildlife, because that's the first thing we need, habitat. If we don't have habitat, nothing will survive. And that is really amazing. I saw the first part of the project. I saw a second part of that project. It's really it's inspiring. It's so motivating for me. And then another lady, and we hope that we can have her there, Karen Trentler, conservationist, wildlife rehabilitation. She's absolutely amazing. She is she's also one of our honorary patrons, and she has been vital for so many years in rearing orphans, elephant calves, rhino calves. She has taught me an incredible amount of knowledge, all of them, all three of them, and she's going to be there hopefully, and will speak also as a guest speaker if she can make it. And yeah, Karen has taught me so much. I worked in an orphanage with her. I learned incredible amount of things about rhino orphans, and we had an elephant orphan as well. So yeah, David, it's going to be really wonderful. The only thing that people that are online will miss is the wonderful cuisine, but other than that, I promise you will have the whole experience.
Oh, wonderful. So anyone who wants to actually go along onto this, to experience this amazing event, and I think it's going to be one of the biggest events here in Pretoria that Pretoria's had for a very long time, is to actually go to that link. What is that link, Tanya? What is that link that they need to go to?
It's a Quicket link. How would you like me to do you want me to send it to you? I've got it in various WhatsApp group. I've also got it on our Facebook page, and it's also on our website. If you go to events and then events 2022, you will see there is the Quicket link. There's also the link to the online auction, and then there are also the biographies of our two confirmed guest speakers. It is already on there, but I can send you the link.
And would it be on your website currently? So for those of you who go to, I think it's dancingforrhinos.co.za, is that correct?
That's correct. It's either .co.za or .com. And if you go to events and then you just look for the events 2022, and if you click on there, all the information is on there. Yeah.
Fantastic. So those of you who are on Clubhouse, and I see there are a few there, and I see Bashal here and Dishan. Hi, Deshaun. Great to have you guys here. Thanks for your support. If you'd like to find out a little bit more, go to dancingforrhinos.co.za, that URL, the website, and you'll find all the information there. So, Tony, I'd love to hear the story that you've been dying to tell us about Thandi. I think you've got a whole story about it. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
It was the greatest of pleasure. I'll do that. Yeah, Thandi is... And that's the part where I always get quite emotional, but it's simply because she touched my heart so much. So basically on the 2nd of March, when she got poached, my sister phoned me. That day, from that specific day on, I went every single night. Every single day, I checked on Dr. William Fowles' Facebook page, Kariga's Facebook page, and I wanted to know exactly what was happening with these two surviving rhinos. And
so just for just for the listeners, just explain what happened to those rhinos so they can understand. Yeah.
that they know what happened. Okay. So on the 2nd of March, I received a phone call from my sister, who was already very much following everything about the rhinos in South Africa. And she told me that there were 3 rhinos poached on that night at the Kariga Game Reserve in the Eastern Cape. And she asked me if I knew, and I didn't know. So she told me 1 rhino died immediately with the poaching injuries, and 2 rhinos were fighting for their lives. And on that day, so I started following what was happening. And Dr. William Fowles and the Kariga team, so they found Thandi and they found Themba on that day. And yeah, so first they treated Themba. He had unfortunately a leg injury as well, and they gave him the antibiotics and just wanted to see what was happening, how would they cope with the injuries. And then they found Thandi, and Thandi basically was lying in her pool of blood. I took those pictures out of the presentation, or I did hide them, and because it's difficult for people to look at it, but I forced myself to look at it, and I forced myself to watch the videos as well. And Thandi was lying there, and she was really, really very agitated. You could see she was in a lot of pain. And Dr. Fowles went to her, and he could have made the decision that moment to euthanize her. And he said, okay, let us see. She looked actually much worse initially that moment than Themba. And he gave her antibiotics, and it looked as if she was trying to get up. So he made the decision, and he actually let her go up. He obviously had to give her a bit of an anesthetic that he could treat her, and then he gave her the reversal drug, and she actually got up at that moment, and she actually started walking off. And if you look at Dancing for Rhinos website on My Reason, you will see the whole story. Also, I've written about it there, and those videos. And you see Thandi walking off. And then since that day, I just kept on following every single day. I waited every night for Dr. Fowles to give back that report, in Kariga as well. I don't know, it just touched me so much to actually watch it. David, I can't tell you, if you really see that from day one, and you see how a rhino who nearly died and who was so badly injured, and you see a team of people looking at her, treating her every day. It's absolutely amazing to think where this rhino is today. And if I look at Themba, obviously Themba was a big worry because of his leg injury. And he was fluctuating a bit between getting better, getting worse, getting better, getting worse. And I will never forget that day at the end of March when and I had a weird feeling the day before, 2 days before, he looked very weak. And then all of a sudden he got that spark up. And Dr. Fowles decided to see and make sure and see could he actually save him.
Mm.
And it was his birthday, and I was hoping so much that it wouldn't happen on his birthday, and that you would have to euthanize him. And then Themba actually did a bit of an attack to him, and that was like a very good sign, because it showed the fighting spirit in him. And then actually, that was really, really a very, very hard moment. And you will see it on stage also. On the 26th of March, it was, a ranger went out, Jason, and he actually found Themba in a dam at Kariga Game Reserve, trying to get out of the mud. So Themba went into that dam and he tried to get out, but he got stuck in the mud because of his leg injury that he had. So what happens is that poachers, when they run, they actually prevent rhinos to run, and they actually hit them with an axe into their legs, that they can't do that. So that's really the trauma that happens. So Temba has been struggling with that leg injury, and they've been trying to work on that leg injury at the same time. He went into the dam to try and cool off, and rhinos cannot swim. Their heads are too heavy. And so he went in, he tried to get out, and he couldn't get out. Now I need to tell you this remarkable story of Jason. Jason jumped immediately in the dam. He called for help on the radio. He jumped into the dam, and he set himself underneath Temba's head to try and keep that 200-kilogram head out of the water. And I will never forget Jason's words when he said to me, Tanya, I will never for the rest of my life forget the sound when I didn't have the strength to keep Temba's head above water anymore. And he sank down on my legs, on my knees into the water. And he died. And he said to me, I will never forget the sound of that, the sound of water through these hollow nasal cavities. And David, that is what our rangers are dealing with. This is what wildlife veterinarians are dealing with out there. And we don't know it. And we need to get more involved. We need to stop the rhino fatigue and say, we've heard it before and it doesn't help. It's up to us to make that change, to be that change for our rhinos. That was very, very hard for me. I have to tell you, that was really, really tough. And if I didn't have Gerard to help me through it, I don't know how I would have managed. And to see Dr. William Fowles next to Temba, so they pulled him out of the water, and he's got a resting place at Karega Game Reserve. And to see him, he's a 1.9 meter man, he's a tall man, and see him next to this rhino. And please go and watch that video on our website, and how he cried and how he said to Temba, we failed you, Temba. That was a video that went worldwide, and that changed the lives for many, many people out there. And for me, between Temba and Thandi, it was just life-changing. So yeah, when we then lost Temba, he obviously said, we're not giving up on Thandi. And Thandi has become then my girl of courage, really a girl of courage. She got fighting every single day. She got better. She went through so many treatments, and it was incredible. Also, Honest to Put got involved. Overseas veterinarians and institutions got involved with skin, what we would call skincare, but skincare in a completely different way. There was so many ways to try and help rhino to grow again. And it's different if the plate of the horn is been damaged, and they got into the underneath that as well, the horn will never grow back. If there's a little piece of plate left, there is a chance, and you will see the back horn of Thandi has grown back a little bit. Yes, so David, Thandi was for me the rhino that really showed me that we can beat this, we can fight this. Her courage, her strength has just been absolutely amazing. And nobody knew at that time that she already was pregnant. And so her rhino, they was born in January 2014, and that was Tembi. So that was really a celebration. That was the first time in like that whole time that we could really celebrate since 2012. And it was absolutely amazing. I mean, this little rhino had the strength of a mom. She was chasing wildebeest. There's one video of it out there. She's absolutely amazing strength, a strong little rhino. Yes, and then after Tembi, it was Colin that was born. After Colin, it was Tetu and Saya. So Thandi has got 4 calves, and her first calf has got a calf as well. Timby has got her own calf now as well.
Wow.
And Gosi. And when we were in April in Kariga and we saw Tembi, I mean, she's as huge, enormous as Tandi, as strong as her. That was really a very special moment for me, to see her and to see how beautiful her family is grown. And David, really for me, every single year, watching Tandi, seeing how she has grown, how she got better, there are still the moments where you see that drizzle of blood coming from a nasal cavity. But nevertheless, she's a strong lady. She's got courage. She's up there. She's really, really awesome. And that is what we would like to celebrate this year, as well as Dancing for Rhinos, that coming from a very, very bad and sad moment to celebration, and so many people have been inspired by it, and that is what we need to take. Dr. William Fowles always say to us, take that thing that burns deep in your heart and bring it out there and do something with it. And that is basically what we're doing. And I know it was a long talk now, David, but I have to say it's also the first time in a very, very long time that I talked in detail about it again. And I want to thank you for it as well, because that is what burns in my heart, is the pain of Timber and him not surviving. But Tandi, who did survive and is such a true example to us that it doesn't matter what our situation is in life, it's up to us to turn around and make it a change. That's what we're about.
Wow, that was such a powerful, such a wonderful story. I must say, I've also got tears in my eyes here. So, very emotional, but it's such a, I mean, there's a silver lining in every cloud. And I mean, here we have now, you say there are 4 calves. So that's absolutely a wonderful story, Tanya. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah, so this one is, that was also quite at the beginning in 2013, when we then visited our first rhino orphans at a reserve, and that was quite incredible for us. Here I was at Honesteport, a rhino baby that was also injured, and just really getting involved on the ground and knowing what has been happening out there. And I think that is what gave us also so much knowledge. In 2000, and we had our first event, so we were founded on World Rhino Day 2012. Then 2013 we had our first event, and the first donation went to this rhino, who was shot twice. Actually, she survived twice, and there we were really hands-on in the reserve, where the treatment was by the doctor to flush out the bullet wounds, and an amazing lady. And here you will see from another organization, Saving the Survivors, we donated towards that skin that was put on the wineries to help. We raised for that together with a lot of other organizations to really try and support them for that research and those trials. 2013 in July was the first time that I met this incredible, beautiful lady, Tandi. It was really a remarkable day. Normally she's hiding quite a lot, and especially because of the helicopters and that, she always, obviously she got petrified for the sound of it. And then they warned me and said, we don't know if we're going to find her. I never worried about it. And we found her actually quite fast, within 10 minutes. And really amazing. And she spent about 45 minutes really around our car, and it was absolutely amazing. I could see the hair on her ears, David. I will never forget that day. So that was truly inspiring. And the rangers told us that night that many times it happens that when people who are very much involved in Tandi's story, she all of a sudden comes out. They haven't seen her on that day for 2 weeks, and that day she came out. I said to them, even if it's not a true story, I'll take it, because it was so amazing just to see her. I mean, that just was a truly remarkable experience, and being in her presence.
Wow.
Then 2015, I changed the concept of Dancing for Rhinos, and we decided to tell musicals, to tell the real stories of what is happening out there. Don't just have it an animal, but put a name to it. Bring it to people that people can understand what is happening out there. And those are the pictures that you are seeing here. So 2015, our event, Dr. William Fowles talking, Dr. Johan Marie from Saving the Survivors talking. Quite incredible moment. And then what we did in 2015, we brought their story back home to the Eastern Cape. We danced the story of Thandi and Themba in Kenton-on-Sea, and we had so many people from that community watching it. And David, yeah, I must say, it was so special. Dr. William Fowles was talking on that night as well. You see him here. And then he mentioned something that I never realized. And he said to us, many people have taken our story from the Eastern Cape into the world, but it was never brought back to us. And so it's the first time that it ever was brought back to the Eastern Cape. And it meant so much to me because I never saw it that way. It was really just as an honor to what they've done and how they changed our lives. And if everything goes well, I would love this year to bring it back again to the Eastern Cape. So we're working on that, and it was really an amazing moment. And if you see the next slide, that day was for the Dancing for Rhinos team a truly, truly, truly remarkable day. We cried together, we laughed together, we took our whole musical and we played it on the reserve, exactly where everything happened.
Sure.
I can tell you that was very tough for the team, but it was the strongest bond we could ever do for this team to get closer even together, because we did everything in the reserve. It was really a truly remarkable moment. And this was the moment when everybody saw Thandi for the first time. We had many, many tears of the team on the vehicles, because it is such a, she's got that presence. And all I can say for anybody, please go and visit Thandi in the Eastern Cape at the Kariga Game Reserve. I promise you, when she looks at you, it looks as if she looks right into your soul. It's an incredible, beautiful lady. So that is what happened there. And that is the sad part, but I always make sure that when I go and visit Thandi, I visit Themba's grave. We've got a big stone there signed by the Dancing for Rhinos team with all our names on his grave. And that's always the moment that reminds us what we don't want to happen more. We need to be that change. So yeah, that's always quite an emotional moment for me there. Okay, so our awareness, very important for us. What do we do with the children? So obviously Dancing for Rhinos and our musicals and pulling children in is a very, very big part of it. We play a big role. I always want new children in our musical that they learn. So we've got from like 6-year-old, 10-year-old, all the way up to our age. And it doesn't matter, anybody is welcome. It's not my show, it's our show. And there we had Miss South Africa in 2014, handing out a lot of picture books to the children to draw in, and you know, bringing the awareness. She talked at that moment, at the morning in this assembly as well. It was after the event. Very, very special lady, and that was truly remarkable moment. And then Gerard, with all the markets that we always do and have, we made sure we started with the Chip and Rhino Foundation. Is one of our beneficiaries, and we always try to have are you doing on a daily basis? How can you involve it? And that is what happened there. And then, of course, the orphans, which is very close to my heart as well. So I'm very, very much involved in sanctuaries with orphans. In 2014 as well, you see a Rhino ambulance. We also contributed some of the money towards that ambulance, that if mothers get shot, that we can get the babies as quick as possible to a sanctuary. And for that, you need these trailers. And they're also around 250, 300,000 Rand to get them converted, that they don't get injured inside, all of that. So that is one of the things we donate to. You can see also a lot of I was feeding little Mickey with milk. So we are very much involved in milk donations. Here you see me in 2015 in the sanctuary. Also with the elephant. This is Karen Trendler, really truly the Rhino and Ellie mom, and who taught me quite a bit. And this is actually quite sad, because that was the Tula Tula Rhino orphanage that got attacked in 2017. This little one, I bottle fed him, and he was at night. Truly, truly heartbreaking story. Very, very difficult for everybody who was involved. And for me, just simply, again, another reason to never stop what I'm doing. Wow. This was a very special day for us, Dr. William Fowles. That is a rhino horn trimming. And that day, Tembi got dehorned. It's a sad thing that it has to happen. But unfortunately, one of the things we do need to do, but the good thing that was happening is we Dancing for Rhino sponsored with all the amount of money that we got from people, and are very grateful to a sponsor, one of our big sponsors, Walter Hirzeborg, that we were able to fund that horn trimming for Tembi. Here you see her before Dr. Fowles had to do the horn trimming, and here afterwards. And this is basically what happens then with a treatment. Here he is explaining how it will right to the reversal drug again. And that brings me nearly to the end of the presentation, using infrared cameras to help protect our rhinos. And we've got an incredible drone, an incredible pilot, an incredible engineer who is doing this. I know him for many, many years. Highly loyal, trustworthy, knowledgeable. He's really incredible, and we're working on something very, very good on it as well with AI, that we make sure which animals can be identified from very high up in the night. And this is truly a very important tool in the box. We donated one of our drones last year to a reserve, and you will not believe it, 3 days later, they actually contacted us and said they heard a gunshot on the reserve. And within 10 minutes, they had their anti-poaching unit, with all their rhinos together. They were actually in the danger zone. They deployed the drone within minutes. It found the rhinos. It got all the anti-poaching team centralized to that specific area, and nothing happened. And it's really, really remarkable when you see what this is doing. And it's also the bushmeat trade that a lot of our reserves are struggling with, especially throughout COVID and after COVID. And that is truly what you can help us with. These drones cost about 100,000 Rand, one drone, but they used to be on the market only for military use, and around 500,000. So something that still sounds expensive for us has been way out of our league before, but it can be done now. And that is something we really want to embark on, to help our veterinarians find animals, our reserve owners, to double check they can be programmed. They've got certain missions for their border fences. But it's incredible what this drone is doing, and it's got flashlights, so you can find the poachers very, very fast. Where in the past you would drive into the dark and you see nothing. Absolutely nothing. And now all of a sudden you can see. So this is really, really something I feel very, very strong about. Let us use technology to help with it.
Wow.
2019, you can see that was the story of Sudan. Really, you can see the difference also in the lighting, in the show, in everything from 2013 up to 2019. Definitely one of our very beautiful musicals that we had. Very strong message. We flew in the two of the caretakers, one in 2018, one 2019, from Kenya. They've never been on a plane before. They've never been out there. And what happens, and that's the awareness, we sent them to KwaZulu-Natal, we sent them to the Eastern Cape to go and speak to people in our communities, tell them what happened with Sudan, and bring out that message. And they talk like 2,000 children on each occasion, which is really remarkable. And that's what I say, that's one of the duties I have, to connect and to put that awareness out there. And after that, I mean, they've been to America, they've been to England, they've been to China. It was definitely the foundation for them to go and travel the world and speak about rhinos. And I'm so happy for them, because it gave them the tool to use and go further with this.
Wow. You know, I'm just looking at those photographs, and you know, you can see that this event that you're going to have is going to be absolutely amazing. You know, those of you who can't attend, are not in time to get the latest ticket, the last tickets, then what I would suggest is go along onto those links that Tanya spoke about. Go to the website, which is dancingforrhinos.co.za, and then hold a second. Sorry about that. And then go along and click on those links and actually join the show. And it's only, I think it's 100 Rand, is it? I mean, that's for nothing.
The live stream is 100 Rand, yes. Yes,
and that money is going towards your fundraising, and to support these rhinos. So Tanya, thank you so much for this time of yours, for showing us all these photographs. And I think let's put that last photograph on, just so that we remind us why we're here and what we are doing. And so it's an amazing photograph, that. And for those on Clubhouse, thank you for joining us, and thanks to listening to the replays. So thank you so much, Tanya, for such a wonderful
David, and thank you for the opportunity. I truly appreciate it. Yes, I really do. Thanks a million. And I will send you also all the links just now if anybody would need them. Thanks a million. Let's save our rhinos. Help us.